Hey there, welcome to Business Breakthroughs. I'm your host, Neil DiPentino. So happy you could be with us today. I am talking today with a lifelong entrepreneur. She's a full-time mom, which is even more important, from Surge Marketing in Saratoga Springs, Utah. Welcome, Seila Christensen. Seila, welcome to the show. So glad you could be with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Outstanding. So you're Saratoga Springs, is that what I said? Yeah, Saratoga Springs. Whereabouts is Saratoga Springs in relation to like Salt Lake, that type of thing?
In relation to Salt Lake, it's about 30 minutes south in Utah County, and 15 minutes west of Lehigh. So I'm not too far away from Salt Lake. I frequent the area often. I have family in the area, so yeah, I love it. It's been awesome.
Are you originally from that area then?
I'm not. I'm actually from Washington State,
Okay.
and I was born and raised there, and so was my husband. And then after we got married, we were married for, 5 years. And then we decided that we wanted to change jobs. My husband wanted to change jobs. We were in agriculture, and he actually has pretty severe seasonal allergies. So it really wasn't very enjoyable for him because he was just miserable all the time.
Right.
So we started looking for new jobs. And like I said earlier, we have family in the area in Utah. And so we decided to start looking here, and he got a job. And so we picked up and moved our family down here. We have 3 girls, and we're just having so much fun here. It's so family friendly here, and it's just awesome. We love it.
Fantastic. And I was looking at your profile on LinkedIn, and so now I kind of understand, because you said you are if I say this right, I might say it wrong, but I think you said something like you were a part-timer at Search Marketing, but I can understand why, because you're a full-time mom.
Yeah. So I do, Search Marketing part-time just because, I am a mom first and foremost. And especially right now when our family is so young, I anticipate this growing in the future. And so I think that it will become full-time eventually. But right now my family is really young, and I still have 2 kids at home and 1 in school. And so we're really busy point in our lives. And so, but I can't not let this go. I have to share what I know, and because I really feel like it's going to be beneficial for people.
Fantastic. Now you're so generally on Business Breakthroughs, a lot of the guests that we have been in business for a while. In fact, a lot of them are people who had thought about retirement. I mean, they're my age, and then said, you know what, I've got a lot to offer and everything. So it's kind of a unique thing that we have somebody who's kind of really getting started in business. And that's kind of where you're at. I mean, you've been doing this for a little while, but you were telling me a few weeks ago, we actually had a short conversation, and you were telling me about your business and how you got started. So give us a little breakdown on what that looks like.
Yeah. So let's see, like 10 years ago when I had my first daughter, I had severe postpartum depression and anxiety. And so one thing that I was, going to get help and stuff, and he suggested that I do something to, occupy myself with. And so I started making handmade bows, and that process helped me to start a business of making handmade bows. And I actually ended up loving the business side of it more than actually making the bows. And I loved meeting people at markets, and I loved connecting with them on social media. And I dove into it. I like to say that I outgrew that business and decided to part ways with it. I had some family things going on at the time, and so I kind of took a break there, but I didn't take a break from learning about business because I was just obsessed with it. So I was helping like some family friends and stuff just as they needed at the time, and did a ton of research and a lot of just self-learning as well. And I loved it until a few years later. I think it's April 2022. So not that long ago, I decided that I wanted to jump back into the game now that my family had kind of been established, and, I wasn't so worried about their health and things. And So I reached out to one particular friend, and they run a social media page about dairy farming. And like I said, I'm from Washington, and so that's a lot of agriculture based. And I really appreciated the innovative work that they were doing in the industry. And so I reached out to them and I said, hey, I'd love to come help you with your social media. I've been doing social media for my own business previously and I loved it and I'd love to come help you. And they said yes. So I started doing their social media and it turned into me moving to their kind of sister company. It's called Nursed Skincare. And it's based off of their colostrum that they have at the dairy from the cows. And they created this moisturizer from the amazing benefits of colostrum. And so they kind of moved me over to this sister company and I started doing their email marketing because they had no email marketing at all. And of course, in e-commerce, you're like, okay, yeah, you kind of need email marketing. And so I just dove right in, the same kind of thing where I was 9 years ago starting my little bow business. Like I just got enthralled in the depths of what email marketing was, how it worked. And I wasn't like new to it. I was using Etsy previously for my bow business. So I wasn't utilizing email marketing, but I knew what it was. And I had, kind of dabbled in it at the end of my previous business venture. So I knew the ins and outs of like why I needed to really implement it well. And so I worked together with that team and together we grew that skincare company 1,000% in the last year, and 40% of their monthly sales come from email marketing, which is like totally mind blowing to me. But it's so awesome. I've loved seeing the transformation in not only the company, but in myself as well, and I quickly realized that if I had implemented email marketing into my previous business, I could have been, so much more successful. And then I realized that there were actually still a ton of small businesses that weren't totally utilizing email marketing and that I really could probably help them with that. And lots of times I see, companies getting pitched to about, like, here, I'll do your email marketing for X amount of money. And it's just like not doable for a lot of people. And so I really wanted to create a way to teach solopreneurs and small businesses how to at least start the process of email marketing so they have that asset and they can start building their email list for further growth down the road.
I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. Obviously, if you own that list, whereas with your own social media and everything, you can be shut down anytime. They actually, Facebook, Instagram, whomever it might be, they own that list. So you're kind of like their mercy and their rules, where there's not so many rules in email marketing. How did you go about getting the list of people to reach out to, your contact list?
So I, like, as in, how did I get clients?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So a lot of mine are referrals, mainly.
Let me back you up just a second. I apologize. So when you're building the list for the company that you were working with, did they already have a list and you started reaching out to them, or how did you build that list?
Oh, so for that client particularly, a lot of them were just because they had made orders, right? And we really wanted to, email marketing is so good at creating intimate relationships with your customers. And so we really wanted to foster the list that we already had, in addition to pulling people from Instagram. Like you said, you don't own your followers on Instagram or Facebook or Etsy or things like that. And so pulling them off of the platform and putting them into an asset like an email list is super important. And so we wanted to give them a way to, find value in our company outside of the platform and the tips that we were giving on the platform. So what we did is we offered a freebie, or what we call a lead magnet. So that particular client, we built a freebie of like a skincare flow chart to help them figure out what products they needed for their skin type. So let's say, they have oily skin, then you go on, a particular side of the flow chart, and these are the products that you need. If you have dry skin, then you need these products. And so they were able to easily download that, and it gave them some tips on like ingredients to avoid and things like that. So, and our customers found that really valuable because the skincare market is so broad, and so that's really what we have focused on, is creating value off of the platforms that will help people make better decisions for their skincare. And that's really what I try and do for all of my clients. I was just talking with another client about their business, and they are an organizational business. And so they needed a freebie that they could offer value to their customers off of the platform the same way that the skincare company had. And so we kind of brainstormed a little bit, and we decided that she was already creating content for these tips and tricks, right? For easy organization in her home. And so I said, let's make the opt-in, instead of like something that they can download, let's make it a series of emails, right? That they will learn as they go, almost like a mini course, like a mini course for what you're selling, right? Your value. And so I said, let's do that. And so we made a plan, and we're going to go ahead and do it. I think we're going to start in January for her. But yeah, there's so many ways to provide value to your customers beyond just providing a product. And if you can establish expertise in that way and establish a relationship, you're so much more likely to complete the sale and make the conversion.
Absolutely. I am a real big advocate on repeat business. And I mean, it's really hard to get new business. It's hard to go out and reach out to, it's very expensive to try to get new customers, new clients. And, email marketing, as you're talking about, and using the lead magnets, and, giving, the series, the advice, those type of things that keep people engaged, that keeps them coming back. And it's much less expensive for a client to be able to keep a customer than it is to get a new customer. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. It is like, I can't remember the number right off the top of my head, but significantly more times expensive to get new customers than it is to keep old ones, and email marketing has a ROI, a return on investment of 4,000%. And so for every $1 that you're spending on email marketing, you're getting a return of $40, and that's just like inconceivable, especially for a small business that is just like every dollar matters, right? And every moment of your time matters. And I value small business owners' time, because they're really what is keeping, like the industry's moving, right? And keeping people on their toes, and like those big markets, like they really keep things progressing. And so I value the time that they put into it. And so I really try to help make sure that their time is used in the best way possible. And I personally believe that is through email marketing and keeping those customer relationships.
Absolutely, 100%. So you started off with a dairy farmer, which rolled over into their sister business, and you mentioned the type of product it was, and I was lost from the second you said it, but I know nothing about that. But I kind of understood what you're selling, more kind of a like a health type product in a sense, and then you're working with other organizations now. What are you doing to reach out to try to get new clients for yourself?
So I like I said, like we've kind of talked about, I'm fairly new to this. It's been probably like a month and a half now that I've really like dove into trying to reach new clients. And so I've joined a lot of networking groups. I've been active on LinkedIn and Instagram particularly, and I've been building my own email list. And so that's been really fun. Just kind of, like, yeah, I'm really putting myself out there doing podcasts like this, and like trying to provide value, right, to people, and just beyond what I actually, my products, my services. I want to be able to be an asset to people just by, being available to them, and doing things like this where I can offer tips and tricks and show people that email marketing doesn't have to be so scary and it can really be an asset for a company.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. So are most clients that you're working for are trying to, establish, is it in the Utah market and around Saratoga Springs, or are you branching out beyond that area?
So I'm mainly working within Utah for now,
Mhm.
just because a lot of the networking things that I'm doing are just, locally based. And so that's
Right.
how I'm getting clients mainly is through those networking things. And so they just happen to be in Utah. But I, that dairy farm is in Washington and I still work with them. And so I'm not limited to Utah.
Right.
My services are virtual anyways, and so it doesn't really matter where. I'm fairly open to other states.
Outstanding. I love what you're doing. Email marketing. A lot of people could probably do. A lot of people can do a lot of this stuff on their own, but it's time consuming.
Mhm.
And if you're running a business, sometimes you don't really pay attention to it because you're worried about the other stuff or you're working on the other that you need to work on. And really, in marketing and in email marketing, especially, consistency is important. So if you can't stay consistent with it, it's really important to have someone like you who can do it for them. Would you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely. I personally, my business focuses on teaching versus like actually doing it myself. I do offer that service, and I
Oh,
do offer like like I'll do it for you. But I mainly focus on the very beginnings of establishing, just like getting on the platform and
okay.
creating an email series, right? And automations, because you're absolutely right. People don't have time to be consistent with campaigns and stuff. And those things are important. But I really focus on let's get those things that can just run by themselves up first, right? And then we can worry
Right.
about expanding into campaigns and stuff. And so at the beginning, I really focus on, especially with new clients that don't have anything at all. Like I said, there are some clients that I have that already have an email list, and I work on them with how we're going to, strategize for bigger and better things. But I really focus on those people that don't have anything yet, and they just need,
Gotcha.
an hour of my time, right? Where they're like, can you just help me start setting up this series, right? And I really try and
Hmm.
advocate for teaching them how to do it themselves, because
Nice.
there's so many times where I see further clients down the road where they're like, okay, I need this and this and this. I need to build my email list. I need to create a new automation. And they've already had someone else, an agency be doing that for them. And they've been paying thousands of dollars for just campaigns, but nothing with substantial like value, right? Like segmentation, automations, um, welcome series and things like that, where those are the things that really drive emails, or like that drive the ROI in an email platform, is those things
Hmm.
that are already just automated, right? And so they're wasting their money on campaigns and having someone else make them for them, but they're not doing anything like that is sustainable, right? And so I really
Hmm.
focus on creating sustainable practices for them from the very beginning, and help them realize, this is what is going to really help you grow in a sustainable way that doesn't require so much of your time.
Right. I love it. Fantastic. Well, sounds like from the examples that you gave that you're doing a great job, and that people should reach out to you and learn more about you and your services and everything. We're going to get into that in just a second, but before we do, we're getting close to the end. Any final thoughts that you'd like to leave our audience with?
Oh, I have a couple, let's see, misconceptions that I want to go over.
Yeah.
A lot of times people think that they need to have like a website to be able to start building their email list. And that's not true. Most email marketing platforms offer that for free. And they want you to use their platform. And so they offer those landing pages completely free. And I have a comparison guide, an email marketing comparison guide that your listeners, if they want, they can they can reach out to me and get it. It's on my Instagram page, or on my website. They can get it there as well. But it is a comparison guide of all of the free plans that several email marketing platforms offer. And it kind of breaks down, like what exactly is good for your business. And because every email platform is different, and it really depends on what your marketing needs are and how your business is run. I tell service-based businesses, they probably need like some survey integrations, or they need it to integrate with specific websites. There's some platforms that don't integrate with other website platforms. So there's a lot to take in when you're choosing an email platform. And so I offer that completely free for people. And it breaks down 4 of the probably bigger, I'd say, email platforms and their free plans and what that means. And so, yeah, I kind of wanted to offer that, because I do feel like that's a question that I get all the time. It's like, I don't have my website ready. And I go, don't worry, you don't have to. You can start building your email list right away and start making those connections and building your customer base and their trust in you from the beginning, from the very beginning. And I wish more small business owners knew that.
Just got to get them started. There's a bazillion different things at our fingertips that we can use. And a lot of times we get in our own way, and we don't start, doing something because we think we need to have all of our ducks in a row. We have to have this, we have to have that, like a website, in order to get started. So I think that's great advice.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I grew up in a small town, and I was a 3-sport athlete. And one day I was playing a JV game, and the varsity coach pulled me from the varsity or the JV game and said, "Hey, I need you to play varsity right now." And I was like a deer in the headlights, And so I jumped over there, and he was like, "You're up to bat." I was like, "Oh, okay." And so he said, "But don't worry, don't get psyched out. Don't get psyched out. They're playing the same game. They're using the same ball. Here's your bat, and step up to the plate. I believe in you." And, there's so many times where, especially small business owners particularly, and I was one of them, like I said earlier, I had a small business and it was so overwhelming. We're looking at something that's so much bigger than ourselves, and we're going, I don't know if I have the right, mindset. I don't know if I don't know everything, and so it's so overwhelming. And so I get it. And so my main focus is to make sure that small business owners do get those tools, right? That they can step up to the plate and get into the big leagues, because that email marketing is a free tool available to everyone, and all the big companies are using it. So why aren't we using it? And I think that more small businesses could totally opt into all that email marketing has to offer.
Great. Well, fantastic. And so how do we you said you reach you on LinkedIn and your website. What's the website?
Yeah, so my website is surgeassisting.com, and I'm on LinkedIn, Seila Christensen. And you can find me on Instagram at Surge Assisting as well.
Outstanding. Well, look, you're a great guest. We really appreciate you being on the show. We've come to the end. And so, hey, that's all we have for our show today. So thrilled y'all could be with us today on Business Breakthroughs. Our Business Breakthroughs is sponsored by Titan Media Works. Check us out on titanmediaworks.com. That's Works, WORX. And check out all of our great hosts on the Small Business Delivered Network at smallbusinessdelivered.com. Until then, have a great day. Bye-bye. See you soon.